The Washington Commanders maybe have their new starting quarterback for 2023. Jacoby Brissett was one of my favorite undervalued quarterbacks on the market, signing a one-year $8 million for 2023. It could be $10 million in 2023, potentially, given performance. Jacoby Brissett had a very strong year last year for Cleveland in place of Deshaun Watson. I felt like he played his best football of his career as a starting quarterback with the Cleveland Browns. A lot of that had to do with throwing the ball down the field, coming off of play action, playing inside a strong running game, and a lot of play action. And what I like about Washington and the carryover between what he'll do in Washington is throwing the ball vertical, because you've got Curtis Samuel, you've got Terry McLaurin, you've got Jahan Dotson, you've got some guys that want to go down the field. That's what Washington was focusing on last year. And the fact of the matter is that Heineken, as much as I love him and as much as he is the next Ryan Fitzpatrick, could not get the job done. He did not have a big enough arm, and he could not throw the ball down the field the way Washington wanted to. Jacoby was very good in that area last year. And just for reference and just for comparison, Jacoby Brissett graded as the 6th best quarterback in football last year, according to Pro Football Focus, with an elite rushing grade of 91.5, but a passing grade of 75.2 and 82.6, which, comparison to Washington's other starter, he was second last, only above Zach Wilson. So Jacoby Brissett had his best year of his career, according to PFF, according to my eyes. And also in 2021, he was graded 15th with a different team entirely, the Miami Dolphins. So Jacoby, last 2 years, has played his best football of his career. He started for different teams. Indianapolis, he's played 2 games for New England. But he played for Indianapolis. He played about 2 seasons worth of games in 2017 and 2019. Then he went to Miami, where he only played 5 games. And then he went to Cleveland, where he played 11 games. And as my guy Connor McLeod here, Browns fan himself, would say, that he outperformed Deshaun Watson. And I don't think that's wrong at all. You know, in my opinion, watching the 2 teams play and the quarterbacks play, I thought Jacoby was more composed. I thought he made better decisions, and I do think he threw the ball better, more accurately than Deshaun Watson, who's getting a guaranteed ridiculous contract. And I know that he was coming off of time off of the football field, but a 64 completion percentage, which was a career best last year, 2,608 yards in only 11 games, which produced a 163 yards per game. That's 12 touchdowns, only 6 picks. And a passer rating of 88.9, which was also a career best. He also took 24 sacks in 11 games, which was a career best sack percentage of 6.1. So in a lot of areas, he improved his play. On top of that, I'm going to dive into some of the deeper statistics here for Jacoby, just because I'm honestly just curious. Big time throw percentage was 17th. That was actually tied with Jalen Hurts. His turnover-worthy play percentage was 3.1, which on 20% of the snaps ranked 20th, which was just below Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence and Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, pretty good numbers overall when you look at all avenues, all different approaches. He didn't have super amazing receivers either. I think the receivers in Washington are better. The offensive line in Cleveland is better. The run game in Cleveland is better. But the play calling could potentially be better in Washington, given Eric Bieniemy is the new offensive coordinator. So that's going to be an interesting blend of what they do in Washington. How much of what they did last year are they going to carry over into this year? How much of the Kansas City offense are we going to see? How much of the philosophy of throwing the ball down the field are we going to see? That's going to be interesting to watch. Jacoby can also be an excellent short yardage rusher. He's a cheat code on quarterback sneaks. So that's something that he also brings to the table. He's a big guy. He can scramble a little bit. He takes big hits and he can come back from it. It's very rare that he gets hurt because of his stature. He is one of the biggest quarterbacks in the game. He makes better decisions than what they had previously. The only real knock I would say on a Jacoby Brissett is he doesn't win a lot. I think that's the biggest knock. Now, he hasn't played on a lot of great teams. I don't think you could ever say he's played on a great team or an above average team. I think the best team he's played on from a talent standpoint might be the 2019 Colts, where he went 7-8 as a starter. Last year, he went 4-7. The year before that, he went 2-3. So below 500, not extremely, but neither team was great. Cleveland had a terrible defense. Miami wasn't great either. Bad offensive line, things of that nature. So I feel like Jacoby maybe could be on a team that's just as talented as a Cleveland last year, maybe even more so from a defensive standpoint for sure, from a receiver standpoint for sure, and I would say a more complete team than Miami was in 2021. So the 2016 Patriots, as somebody comments from Apollo, doesn't mean anything because he only played 2 games. So I'm not going to include that overall and he was also a rookie. So I wouldn't include that. But yeah, Jacoby, good guy, great in the locker room, great leader, has been a great fit everywhere. I think for Sam Howell, whether Sam Howell's the guy or not, he's going to push Sam Howell. And at the very least, he's going to be a high-end backup. And at best, he could be actually a surprisingly good starter, as we've seen the last couple of years. So I really like this move. I like this move a heck of a lot more than I like Baker Mayfield. I like this move more than I like pretty much every other, high-end backup in the league that you could have potentially gotten. So Jacoby Brissett, great move for Washington. I think that makes them a lot better at quarterback, a lot more competent at that position. And I actually think Washington is sneaky this year. If they can make a couple more moves, their roster isn't too far away from being playoff competitive. And they haven't been far away the last couple of years, winning 7 games last season. So Jacoby Brissett, 1 year, $8 million up to $10 million for 2023. To the Commanders.